A very good morning to all my dear students of class 7. Today I will teach you part 2 from the long reading text, The Arabian Nights, the story of Aladdin and the Wonderful Lamp. In part 1, Sindbad the Sailor, I have explained the voyages of Sindbad in 7 classes. I have discussed the question answers and gave you the answers to prepare. We got to know about Sindbad's journeys, voyages in the sea. What are the difficulties he faced, how he escaped those difficulties, how he became successful in life, how he helped the poor people, and how he helped Sindbad the porter to lead the rest of his life peacefully. Okay. So now we will get to know about Aladdin and the Wonderful Lamp. Aladdin was a boy, a very naughty boy, who was the son of Mustafa. Now, Aladdin's story is known to us all because we see it in movies, we see it in cartoons, everywhere we see the story of Aladdin and the Wonderful Lamp. So I will tell you the story, and I would request you all to read the text as you read the storybooks and keep the storyline, the plot construction, what happens after what, that you keep in your mind, okay, for answering the questions. So Aladdin was son of Mustafa. They used to live in one of the large cities of China. But sometimes in cartoon you will find that Aladdin is from Middle East. But here it is written that he is from one of the big cities of China. Now Mustafa was very poor, and it was hard for Mustafa to provide everything to his family. He was very much tensed that what would become to their family. But Aladdin was a very naughty and lazy boy, did not listen to anybody. He was so lazy, and throughout the day he used to play, that he was not at the position to earn enough to feed his family. He was not ready to work at all. So Mustafa gradually became ill and died. And after the death of Mustafa, Aladdin's mother sold each and everything that they had in the shop, and she started spinning cotton. And with the amount of money she used to earn, she could lead her life happily. One day, Aladdin was playing in the streets. Suddenly, a stranger came, claiming that he is the uncle of Aladdin. Actually, this stranger was a magician. And this magician had a plan in his mind. Now, Aladdin's mother never heard of anybody who is her husband's brother. So, this magician gave Aladdin a gold coin. Aladdin took it home that day, but his mother was wondering that who could be this brother of his husband about whom she had never heard. So now the magician leaves Aladdin with the gold coin on the first day. On the next day, again that stranger returns. And he was talking about his father and how he was very much shameful that he could not come during the lifetime of his father in order to win trust of Aladdin. And again he gave one gold coin to Aladdin. Now Aladdin's mother was very much thoughtful that who this person can be. Actually, this magician saw Aladdin, who is very, very, very naughty, and thought that Aladdin would be helpful to him, because that magician was in such a daring and naughty boy who would help him in his own mission. So next day also Aladdin took the money to home. His mother was thoughtful. And after that strange man told Aladdin that he wants to visit their house. Aladdin's mother was so surprised that she did not tell anything at all. So, next day, that person said that he wants to visit Aladdin's place and gave him some money to buy something good for the supper, because he would be visiting he will be visiting that place in the at night. So Aladdin took that money and they bought good food for supper for that person who was coming that night. And that person came with some bottles of wine and some nice fruit and met Aladdin's mother. And he was asking, "My poor brother, in which place he used to sit?" And Aladdin's mother showed him the sofa where Aladdin's father used to sit. And this way, he became acquainted with Aladdin's mother. But he was having some plan in his mind. Okay, so in the course of the next few days, the stranger bought Aladdin some very nice clothes. Aladdin was very happy to wear all these things. He took Aladdin to the rich part of the city and gave those costly those expensive dresses. Aladdin was very happy, and then he took Aladdin away from the city. Aladdin was not able to walk properly. He said, "I cannot walk anymore." Still, this person told that we would walk, and don't worry, when we would return, he will not face any difficulty while walking back. They reached a place which was a sort of eerie place. That means Aladdin was feeling Aladdin was having a strange feeling in him. He was not liking the place. But that person insisted him not to go from there. Then the main intention of the person was revealed. Okay. Now I will read from this portion, which is very important. Previously, the introduction of the story was there, how Aladdin met with that person and how he came to that place. Now I will read this portion, page number 29, third paragraph. You just open this place and you just see. Soon they came to a narrow valley where all was quiet. "This is the place I wish to reach," said the uncle. "There are wonders here which you have never yet dreamt of. I am now going to strike a light. You gather me some dry sticks to make a fire." There were plenty of sticks near at hand, and soon Aladdin had a large heap of them. The uncle set them on fire, as she blaze got big, as the blades got big, he threw perfume into it and spoke some strange words. So the sticks were gathered, and he said something to the burning fire, to the blaze, some strange words like mantras, he said. Then Aladdin realized that there is something very, very, very strange that is going to happen. Aladdin began to feel afraid and thought of taking to his heels. Just at that moment, however, the ground beneath them shook. There came into sight a square stone about a foot and a half across, with a brass ring fixed right in the center for the purpose of lifting it up. "You have seen my power," said the uncle to Aladdin. "I want you now to do something for me." Aladdin, though he shook with fear, said that he was quite ready to do all that he wanted of him. "Then pull the stone up by the ring," said the uncle. So he was instructed to pull the stone up by the ring. Which ring? The brass ring that they got there. Said the uncle, "It will come up easily enough if you repeat the names of your father and grandfather." Aladdin took hold of the ring and, strange to say, was able to lift the stone without the least effort. Aladdin was able to move the stone. So this portion is very important. Aladdin was taken to a secluded portion away from the city, where they made such a place which seemed strange to Aladdin. Aladdin wanted to escape, but he could not. This person came there, and a sight of square stone was visible, a foot and a half it was, with a brass ring, okay, and fixed right in the center for the purpose of lifting it up. So on the stone, the brass ring was put on the purpose of lifting it. Now this magician, this pretended uncle, told him to move it and to utter the name of his father and grandfather, so that he can move it from there. Okay. So Aladdin took hold of the ring, and strange to say was able to lift the stone without the least effort. Aladdin could move it. The next thing to do, went on the uncle, is to go down that well. When you come to the bottom, go through the door into a large hall, then through many halls, one after the other, keeping a straight course till you come to where you will find a lamp burning in a recess in the wall, and bring the lamp to me. Now the purpose of the magician is disclosed. The magician wanted Aladdin to go into the well to bring the lamp. For that, the name of the chapter is Aladdin and the Wonderful Lamp. He went inside and he was instructed to bring the lamp. As he spoke these words, he put a ring on Aladdin's finger, saying, as he did so, that it would keep him from all harm. Then Aladdin went down the well, found all the things as uncle had said. There were in truth precious stones of great value. When Aladdin came to the lamp, he took it down from the wall, and having put out the flame, carried it on his bosom. He took also some fruit from the trees, and at last came to the bottom of the well. Up the steps he went, and saw the stranger outside waiting for him. Give me the lamp, said the uncle. You will be able to get out more easily. No, no, said Aladdin. Help me out first, and then I will give you the lamp. So Aladdin was able to take the lamp from there because he was a fearless boy. This is the reason the uncle chose him while he was playing in the streets with his friends. He saw the daring nature of Aladdin, that Aladdin could do it. Okay. And he just told all these fictitious stories about his father and about being his father's brother and all, and he spent some money on Aladdin. So Aladdin took the lamp. Along with that, from that tree, from that strange, beautiful place of magic and mystery, he took some fruits and all and returned. This person now wants the lamp from him. He said that you give me the lamp and you can come out. Then Aladdin said, no, no, first I will come out, then I will give you the lamp. Now I must tell you that it was the lamp the stranger wanted. He was not Aladdin's real uncle. He had tried his trick to get the lamp. He had come all the way for it from Africa, and was in a sore plight when Aladdin would not give it to him. The stranger tried all the means he could, but Aladdin had sense enough not to part with the lamp. Seeing this, the stranger added a little more perfume on fire, which he had all the time kept up, and then he said two magic words, and lo, the stone which had covered up the well and kept it from the view flew back to its place of its own accord. The magician made off as fast as he could to Africa. Now Aladdin is not ready to give the wonderful lamp to him. So again this magician did some tricks. What did he do? The fire was ablaze. He again gave some perfume, and the fire was very strong, and he added a little more perfume to the fire, and which had all the time kept up. And then he said two magic words, and lo, the stone which had covered up the well kept it from the view, flew back to its place of its own accord. The well's covering again returned with the magical words of the magician. The magician made off as fast as he could to Africa, because he is not at all Aladdin's uncle. He is a magician. Aladdin, of course, knew not what to do. He cried out many times that if his uncle would take away the stone, the lamp surely would be his. But the stranger was now a long distance off, and Aladdin's cries were in vain. For 2 days Aladdin lay helpless in the vale without either eating or drinking. On the third day, when he had given all the hopes of ever seeing daylight again, he joined his hands together as he would have done had he been saying his prayers. As he did so, he chanced to rub the ring, and the stranger had put on his finger. The next instant, a genii, a tall, strong, stood before him. So, from there, the change of in Aladdin's life and the magic starts. Now, as Aladdin disagreed to give him the lamp, the person closed the entrance of the wall with the stone with his magical words and flew to Africa. Aladdin could not come out. Aladdin was there, was there for 2 days without any help, anybody. He was very sad. Now, what to do? The ring that he had given him, he just rubbed it. A genii appeared. Now, something good is going to happen in Aladdin's life. So up to this today, I am stopping the class. It's a big story, my dear students. I would request you, as you read storybooks every night, you read some portion of it. Question answers will be given. Nothing to bother about. The stories are there. If you feel like you want to see the animated story of Aladdin, that also you see and read it here and listen to my class. Read the story, listen to the class, and see the whole animated story in YouTube or in cartoon. Okay. So bye for today. See you tomorrow.